In the next demonstration, I'm going to take some of this roasted pork loin from today's menu. We've trimmed some of the excess fat off. I'm going to put a little seasoning on. I'm going to heat it because it is pre-cooked, but I'm going to heat it, make sure it's good and hot. Now, I'm using moist heat methods for everything. I don't want dry heat methods. Whenever I can avoid that, moist heat methods don't damage or dry out the meat. So I'm going to work in a combi oven on the steamer setting versus being directly into a steamer. Either one of those are outstanding. In this next demonstration, I'm going to puree the pork loin that we showed earlier. I want you to see that this is not overcooked. It's done in a moist heat method. There are no dry spots on this meat. It's just been brought to a proper temperature. And again, on the bottom of this pan, we retain the liquid that came off the meat in the steamer. We're going to pour that into our broth pot for extra flavor, because there's nothing like the true cooked protein broth flavor to enhance. I'm loading the food processor in such a way that it's relatively even, but not necessary. It's got so much energy, it'll macerate the meat evenly. I'm going to keep this broth. I'm going to use the pulse button, and I'm going to pulse anywhere between 5 and 10 times and start to break up the connective tissue of the slices. So we've gone from sliced meat to very ground meat. It's taking on that sawdust effect now. Let's take a look at what that looks like. So very much, you can tell it's dry, it's not wet. You can see that it's light and fluffy like sawdust, and we're still breaking up connective tissue. So we're right where we need to be. We're gonna pulse a few more times before we go on to a steady on button and add our liquids. Each time I pulse, I wanna stir. I wanna use the stirring tool in the food processor to push everything off the walls and back down into the voluminous part of the bowl. The stir is made to go in either direction. Okay, I'm very happy with where we're at. I'm going to show it to you one more time, and then we're going to hit the still on button. It's fluffy, it's dry, it's completely macerated. It's at the smallest particle that it could possibly be. So I want to add my liquid. I'm going to start with about a cup. I'm going to go to the on button, full on. I'm going to slowly pour, slow. Let's take a look. So I can tell that, you know, the meat, very dry, needs much more liquid. You can tell that I'm pressing my fingers with gloves into the meat so that you can see that it's holding shape, but I can tell that it's a little more firm than mashed potato or mousse. I need it to be a little lighter, so we're going to add some more liquid. Again, you want to add the least amount of liquid possible to get it to the right consistency. If you add more liquid than it needed and it gets too thin, you can use your food thickeners to bring it back to the right consistency. We're going to go to the full on, and we're going to use a little more broth. Again, I want to note that this broth was slightly thickened. So this broth has a little bit of the food thickener in it, helping to build and create a perfect consistency puree. So it's definitely holding its shape, and it falls off a spoon in a clump. And that's where we want to be in terms of our consistency. It's much like a wonderful soft mousse and about the same consistency as a mashed potato.